Have you ever noticed how we always seem to think about becoming fluent in English like it's this huge challenge?
Yeah, like something you have to conquer, you know.
Right. It's almost as if we think we need to dedicate hours and hours to studying grammar rules and memorizing vocabulary lists.
Exactly. It's often seen as this skill that you acquire through intense effort, kind of like learning how to code or mastering a musical instrument.
Yeah, but what if I told you there's a different way to think about it? What if fluency isn't just about acquiring knowledge?
Oh, I like where this is going.
What if it's more about establishing consistent habits?
Interesting. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. We all have those things we do pretty much automatically every day. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Like my morning coffee routine. Can't start the day without it.
Exactly. Or maybe it's scrolling through social media or taking the dog for a walk after dinner. We do these things almost without thinking.
It's like they're ingrained in our daily routine.
And that's precisely the approach we're going to explore in this deep dive.
We're going to be diving deep into the idea that integrating English into your regular routine is the real secret to fluency.
It's about those small, consistent actions you take rather than the grand, overwhelming efforts.
And you know what? I think this is something a lot of learners can really benefit from because, let's face it, the traditional approach to language learning can be pretty daunting.
It can be, yeah. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack what it actually means to view fluency as a habit.
We'll explore why just hitting the books might not be enough.
And most importantly, we'll equip you with some really practical strategies to incorporate speaking into your everyday life.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive in.
All right, so let's start by breaking down this idea. Fluency is a habit. What does that actually mean on a practical level?
Okay, so let's first think about what defines a habit.
Right. What is a habit?
Well, it's basically something you do regularly, often, without even realizing it. It's like second nature.
You just do it.
Exactly. Like, you know when you always put your keys in the same spot when you get home, or you always make a cup of tea before you start working?
I do that every single time. It's automatic.
That's a habit. And those actions become almost effortless over time.
So how does this relate to becoming fluent in English?
The idea is to make speaking English just as automatic. Instead of it feeling like this big mental effort every time you want to say something, it becomes something you do naturally.
So it's about training your brain to use English without having to think too much about it.
Exactly. And once you've established that habit, it actually takes less energy to maintain it.
That's interesting. So it's not about forcing yourself to speak perfectly right from the start.
Not at all. It's about making small, consistent efforts over time.
Okay, so I'm starting to get the picture, but what kind of small, everyday things can we do to actually build this habit?
Well, think about it this way. Just like those little habits we talked about, like putting your keys in the same spot, it can be as simple as incorporating English into your existing routines.
Like how?
Well, maybe you spend 5 minutes every morning listening to an English news podcast while you're getting ready. Or maybe you listen to an audiobook in English during your commute.
Oh, that's a good idea. I actually do that sometimes.
See? You're already on the right track. And, it doesn't have to be anything super long or complicated. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a difference.
So even small amounts of exposure can help build that habit.
Totally. The key is consistency. Do something in English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. You could even have a little conversation with yourself in English in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth.
Talking to myself?
Yeah. Just narrate what you're doing. It might feel silly at first, but it's a great way to practice. And another idea is to write a quick journal entry in English before you go to bed. Just a couple of sentences about your day.
Okay, I see what you mean. It's about finding those little opportunities to fit English into your daily life.
Exactly. It's like those small deposits you make into a savings account. Each individual deposit might not seem like much, but over time they add up.
Yeah, and eventually you have a nice little nest egg.
That's a great analogy. And it's the same with language learning. Those little daily interactions with English signal to your brain that this is something important.
So we're training our brain to think in English more naturally.
You got it. And you know what? One of the biggest challenges for language learners is that mental translation process. We often think in our native language, and then try to translate it into English.
That can be really difficult and time-consuming.
It is. But by building these daily habits, you're actually starting to bypass that translation process.
So our brains become more efficient at processing English.
Exactly. Think of it like this. The more you use those neural pathways in your brain, the stronger and faster they become. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
So we're essentially rewiring our brains to think in English.
In a way, yes. And this process is actually supported by scientific research. There's a concept called neuroplasticity, which basically means that our brains are constantly changing and adapting based on our experiences.
So the more we expose ourselves to English, the more our brains adapt to it.
Precisely. And that makes the whole process of speaking and understanding English much more natural and effortless over time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what about all the traditional methods of studying English?
Like the grammar books and the vocabulary lists.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know a lot of people have spent years studying English that way.
And you know what? There's definitely a place for that kind of structured learning. It helps you understand the rules and build your vocabulary.
Right.
But here's the thing. You can know all the grammar rules and have a massive vocabulary, but still struggle to speak fluently.
Yeah, I've experienced that myself. It's like having all the pieces of the puzzle, but not knowing how to put them together.
That's a great way to put it. You see, studying is mostly about passive learning.
Passive learning.
It's like absorbing information, but not actually using it. But speaking is an active skill.
So it's not enough to just know the rules. You have to actually practice using them.
Exactly. I remember when I was learning English, I spent years studying grammar books and memorizing vocabulary. I thought I was making great progress, but then when I finally had the chance to have a real conversation with a native English speaker,
What happened?
my mind went blank. I knew all the rules in theory, but I couldn't access them quickly enough in a real conversation.
So you had the knowledge, but you couldn't apply it in real time.
Exactly. It's like learning how to swim by reading a book. You can study all the techniques, but until you get in the water and start practicing those movements,
You're not really swimming.
you're just reading about swimming. And it's the same with speaking English. You need to actually get in there and practice. Even if it's just talking to yourself or having short conversations with friends.
So it's about bridging that gap between knowing the language and actually using it.
Exactly. It's that consistent practice that helps to automate the process of retrieving words and constructing sentences. It becomes more natural and less effortful over time.
Okay, I'm fully on board with this idea of building a speaking habit. But where do we start? What are some practical steps we can take?
Great question. Let's dive into some actionable strategies that you can start using today. And don't worry, they're all super simple and easy to integrate into your daily life. Ready?
Definitely.
Okay. The first one is incredibly simple. Every morning, dedicate just 5 minutes to speaking out loud in English.
Just 5 minutes. That sounds manageable.
Exactly. The key is to make it a daily ritual. It's like that morning cup of coffee. You don't even think about it. You just do it. And it doesn't matter what you talk about. It could be anything that comes to mind.
Like what?
Well, you could describe what you see around you, what you're planning to do that day, or even how you're feeling. I used to start my day by saying a simple affirmation in English like, "Today I will speak English confidently."
That's a good idea. It's like a little pep talk for yourself.
Exactly. It's a way to set a positive intention for the day. All right, ready for strategy number 2?
Bring it on.
Okay, this one might feel a little awkward at first, but trust me, it's super effective. Record yourself speaking English.
Record myself.
Oh.
I don't know about that. I always hate the sound of my own voice.
I know a lot of people feel that way, but the thing is it's incredibly valuable for identifying areas where you can improve.
Okay, I see your point.
When you listen back to yourself, you might notice things you wouldn't have realized while you were speaking. Like maybe you hesitate a lot or you use certain filler words too often.
Yeah, I definitely do that. Like a lot.
We all do it. It's completely natural. But by becoming aware of those patterns, you can start to work on them.
It's like watching a video of yourself playing a sport. You can see those little mistakes that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise.
Exactly. It gives you that objective perspective. All right, moving on to strategy number 3. This one's all about finding opportunities to speak with others.
Ah, so actually having conversations in English.
You got it. It could be with a friend, a tutor, a language exchange partner you meet online, or even just participating in online conversation groups.
So we need to get out there and use English in real-life situations.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything formal or intimidating. Even just a 5-minute chat can be really beneficial.
That's good to know because sometimes I feel like I need to have this long, elaborate conversation to make it worthwhile.
Not at all. And
No.
don't underestimate the power of texting and messaging in English, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I do that all the time.
See? It's all about finding those little ways to incorporate English into your daily communication. All right, ready for strategy number 4?
Hit me with it.
Okay, this one's a little more challenging, but it's incredibly powerful. It's about training yourself to think in English.
Think in English. How do you even do that?
I know it sounds strange, but it's about shifting your internal monologue into English.
So instead of thinking in my native language and then translating it.
You try to form your thoughts directly in English.
That's a good idea, but it sounds hard.
It definitely takes practice, but you can start small. For example, when you're walking down the street, try to describe the things you see in your head in English.
So like, that's a tall building, or that car is red.
Exactly. Simple observations like that. And as you get more comfortable, you can start having more complex thoughts in English.
So it's about getting to a point where you don't have to translate everything in your head.
You got it. And that makes speaking so much easier and more fluent. Okay, ready for our final strategy.
I'm all ears.
This one's all about making the process enjoyable.
Oh, I like that. Learning should be fun.
Exactly. If you're not enjoying it, you're less likely to stick with it. So find ways to engage with English that you genuinely find interesting.
Like what?
Well, you could watch movies or TV shows in English.
Oh, I love doing that.
You could listen to English music or podcasts, or you could read books or articles that you find captivating.
So it's about finding things that are interesting and engaging, not just educational.
Exactly. When you're having fun, you're not even thinking about the fact that you're learning.
That's true. I've definitely noticed that when I'm really engrossed in something in English, I forget that I'm not even using my native language.
See? That's the magic of making it enjoyable. You're learning without even realizing it.
So to wrap things up, we've discussed 5 key strategies for building a solid speaking habit. Speak out loud every morning. Record yourself to identify areas for improvement. Find opportunities to speak with others. Train yourself to think in English and make it fun.
That's a great summary. And remember, it's all about those small, consistent actions that add up over time.
It's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a little challenge. Think about which of these strategies resonated most with you.
And what's one small step you can take today to start incorporating that strategy into your life?
Because even the smallest action taken consistently can lead to incredible results over time.
So what will your first step be?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.